We're back again, and today we're deciding a player that each Premier League club need to sell in the next January transfer window. But without me diving into the club's reserve list and choosing players that can't even remember what grass looked like, there is a rule to this. That rule being is that we have to choose a player that started in one of the starting 11s in the Premier League this season. It can't be a player that has come off the bench or anything like that. It has to be a player that has started in starting 11 this season in the league. I've chosen each player based on their performance so far this season. It's got nothing to do with money. You know, I'm not putting Grealish on the line for sale. Nothing like that whatsoever. We're simply getting rid of them. Quick sell, I guess, if you like. Okay, now that we've gone over that, let's begin in alphabetical order. Starting with Arsenal, and for me, it's that player that squeezed in that starting 11 against West Ham earlier this season. And that's the Bosnia-Herzegovina defender, Said Kolasinac. Something like that, right? Now, why do I sound like Paul Merson, bro? If this man had started for Arsenal in the league, then I would think I would have definitely picked him. But Kolasinac is one of those players that need to go right now. You know, Tierney is looking really fit. He looks like he's ready for the starting 11 for Arteta. And yeah, they should try and push Tierney out there more. Don't get me wrong, Kolasinac has been solid for Arsenal in the past. But I think his time for this top 6 club is up now. Villa now. And it got to this point where I started to really struggle. 2 teams in as well. This is due to how well Villa have been this season. I do have one player though who I'm going to pick, and that's the player who's played in all of their league games so far this season, being Egyptian winger Trezeguet. I actually don't mind this player either, but just looking at his stats this season, they've been so dry. 1 assist in 8 games. He's played on the right wing for all of these. He's been the one who's lacked in the attack at the moment for Villa, and Bertrand Traore is coming up and contending with Trezeguet at the moment for the starting place. Traore is at a younger age too, so could Villa do with selling Trezeguet? That's the question, Villa fans. Now time for the Seagulls, and that's Brighton. Again, it's another hard pick because collectively they've played really well this season, but also at the same time they've collectively played awful. The one player I've picked is Steven Alzate, and this may be a little harsh because he is only 22 years of age, so still quite young. I don't think we've seen his full potential in the league just yet, and maybe we should leave this one and say he should go out on loan somewhere maybe. I just think he should perhaps leave Brighton at the moment. He's not reaching the numbers like these other lads are, and maybe this league might be too hard for him. But yeah, if we could say for this one he could go out on loan, that'd be great. Maybe a little harsh, I don't know, but we have to pick someone at the end of the day. Next up, we have Burnley. I'll do the accent every time. And now I'm picking the whole team here. No, I'm going for Ashley Barnes here, a player who's 31 years of age right now, and he's championship at best now. Let's just say that. He'll end up playing for Sheffield Wednesday or Forest by the end of the season. I don't know. He's played 5 games this season, no goals whatsoever for him so far. It's looking like the target man for Burnley is Chris Wood this season. He's the one to score the goals, it seems. But I think Barnes should try really hard and contend with this. I will accept that the whole team has been awful this season, so the attacking support isn't going to be as good as it usually is for Burnley. But a player who I think I'd definitely sell is Ashley Barnes. Also, Matic Vidra hasn't been that great either. However, going by this season, Barnes has played more minutes than Vidra, and they've both been poor, so let's just put them both in, hey? Chelsea is up next, and there can only be one man, right? Kai Havertz. No, let's get serious here. I've gone for a goalkeeper that's pretty much roughly worth 10 Petr Cechs. Of course, it's Spanish keeper Kepa Arrizabalaga. I actually pronounced that pretty well. Just this season alone, he's made 3 errors leading to a goal. That's an error for every game he's played this season. He's conceded 6 goals in those 3 games too. And ever since Mendy has come into the spotlight, it's made us completely forget about the £72 million man. I prefer that keeper with a funny bicycle helmet. Where's he these days? Well, he might also make an appearance this season as well. We just don't know. But I think Chelsea fans would agree with me here. It has to be Kepa that they'd sell. With that massive, gigantic pricing tag too, it makes us not even have to think twice who we'd sell for Chelsea Football Club. We move to South London now with Crystal Palace, and they've actually started off really good this season. I really like this team right now. They're all playing really good football. Although I do have to pick someone. My God, I desperately want that person to be you. If only you had started in a freaking game this season in the league. A player who might just be past his best right now, who I am going to pick though, is James McCarthy. I don't even think he's been that bad this season, but he is another player that has been dry with the amount of minutes he's had in the league this season. He hasn't stood out for me at all yet, and other players at Palace are shining instead of him right now. But I think he may be another player who's ready to go to the Championship sooner or later. I look at him in the 4-0 loss at Chelsea, and it's incredible to see the true quality in Lampard's side. I tell you what, Chelsea have got some really quick players this season who can really run fast. This next team have absolutely loved their season so far. So much that I think we actually saw their manager smile for once. Everton have been really great this season, but one player who is a really big player to chuck out is Jordan Pickford. But I'm gonna do it. They've not had a problem with scoring this season. You know, 9 games in and it's 19 goals for them so far. However, this does come with 16 goals that they've conceded though, with 2 of these goals only being conceded by their current second choice goalkeeper, Olsen. And that leaves Pickford to concede 14 in the 8 games that he's played. I have to say, this has been a real difficult choice for me. I almost went with Mina or even Keane, but I feel like they've really stepped up this season. Pickford, however, has left a lot of space in goal from what I've seen this season, which has left goals being scored that should have been savable. But at the same time, he has also been smashing it too. And I don't mean he's been smashing the opposition players in either.
What a joker.
Newly promoted side Fulham now, and I'm not going to go for this, Don. Instead, I'm going to go for French striker Aboubakar Kamara. He hasn't done much for me this season, really. Fulham know this as well. He started for a lot of games this season, but he's not been able to complete any of the 90 minutes in any of these games so far. Scott Parker has just bought him off instead. I do understand, though, that he does have tough competitions with Mitrovic, who's got the most Premier League experience out of the whole squad and is a real sharp shooter, proven this season already. But focusing on Kamara, and we've seen him play 217 minutes in the league so far this season, and in that time he's picked up 3 shots, 1 of which was on target, and he's still yet to score a goal this season in the Premier League too. He's got more red cards than goals this season. I mean, like, what is going on? Kamara has got to go, right, Fulham fans? Bielsa's Leeds now, and I feel unfair for choosing a player like Tyler Roberts. I mean, the lad is only 21, and we haven't really seen much of him in the league just yet. Instead, I will pick defender Liam Cooper, who I think Leeds should just sell up. Leeds have been another team who have been off to a great start this season, and I do have to fully acknowledge them. But I feel like they're an Everton. They do score, but they concede a hell of a lot of goals. 17 goals, to be exact. Sheffield United are at the bottom of the table, and they've conceded less. Bruh. I don't see this as a goalkeeping problem either. Meslier is still young himself and new to this league and done pretty well so far, to be fair. Cooper, though, is a lot older and he's more of a senior player in this squad. And I've picked him because of how bad his spatial awareness is. He's left massive gaps at times, which has left Meslier to compete in plenty of one-on-one challenges. Maybe when Leeds left the Championship, they should have kept Cooper there, you know. Well, the Foxes now, and another hard choice. I almost went with Austrian defender Christian Fuchs, who I don't think perhaps is a little bit past his best now for this league. But I left him out because he's quite easily a legend with winning the league and everything with the club. Leicester have been class though. There's no doubt about that. But a player who has played in every league game this season so far is Mendy. But I don't think he's been part of Leicester's success this season though. Like, he's been there, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't contributed much. From what I've seen this season, his man marking hasn't been that great, and players have had to help him out massively because of his screw-ups. And basically, he'll never reach the heights of this legend, that's for sure. Liverpool! And I'm picking Adrian for this one. Might be a little harsh, but I actually really like Liverpool as a team. Filled in for Alisson though, who was out of action at the start of the season. 2 games he covered for. They conceded 9 goals. We didn't have Van Dijk though. Nah, but you did. Okay, in the Everton game that Adrian played in, the Dutch defender did go off fairly early. I will say that, but I feel like the Premier League champions should have a fairly strong backup goalkeeper. But I'm mainly picking him out because I'm talking about his performance against Aston Villa. I feel some of the goals that he conceded wouldn't have happened if Alisson was in goal. Liverpool have been unfortunate with injuries at times like this, and players who never expected to get any minutes in the league have suddenly got them, and they need to step up to fulfill this. Adrian is another player who I think is just past his best a little, in my own opinion. I think now is time for him to settle down at a mid-table La Liga side, right lads? Next is Man City. And I've gone with EK Gundogan. He unfortunately did have the coronavirus at the start of the season, but he soon recovered from this. Whether this has impacted his fitness or not, I do not know. I just feel the player hasn't put his stamp down in this season yet. And to be fair, Man City haven't done that a lot either in the league. But Gundogan could be a player that they could easily sell and replace overnight. They could get someone who's perhaps more quicker in the midfield and someone who's perhaps more suited to this ever-changing league. Some might say it's a little harsh with the amount of minutes he's had this season, but I'm looking at him in the midfield this season and I'm not seeing much movement. I don't know. I just feel he's a little slow for this league now. Time for the red side of Manchester now. And like Sete, I've gone for another midfielder. Some might be shocked by this. Others who are with me in the Graham Souness Appreciation Club will agree with me here. But for me, it's Paul Pogba, folks. He, to me, either doesn't suit the club anymore or doesn't suit this league. I can't put my finger on it. He costed them in that Arsenal game too when he gave away a penalty. United haven't been as explosive as I would have expected them to this season. But with a player and most certainly a character like Paul Pogba in the squad, you'd expect them to be. Cost him a few bob too. He's wasted a lot of Man United possession this season in the league, leaving them to fall behind a lot on the table. Even Pogba's arrogance is above them in the league right now. But no, sell Pogba, get a nice bit of budget from that, and sign someone else. Man, I feel like this legend is smiling at me right now.
When he was at Liverpool, but he didn't really like to see it.
Next we have Newcastle. This player should have been their main man this season, but failed miserably. I'm surprised we can still see him in this man's shadow this season. Let's just sell him. Hey Newcastle fans, has to be clear right now that Joe Linton isn't ready or was ever ready to play in the Prem, right? Currently on a 40% shooting accuracy in the league with the 8 games that he's played. 398 minutes on a football pitch too. With how well Newcastle have been doing, I just think Joe Linton is a necessary added weight for them right now. So that's why I've gone for Andy Carroll. Joe Linton is Joe Linton for sure, but why is this guy still in the league? He's had his time, so give Joe Linton another chance and get Andy Carroll a ticket for the next train to the Derby training camp. Bottom of the table, Sheffield United now, and collectively as a team, they've been awful. I do have to say that some players in this team have been better than most though, but a player who I'm going to pick who has been involved in every game in the league so far, which have only been able to pick up 1 point, is George Baldock. I feel unfair choosing any player in this team as yet it's a collective issue here. They've been trash. But George Baldock has been caught out a lot this season and perhaps a player they should just bin off now. They're a Premier League team who have to have Premier League quality players, or certainly players who can transform into this quality. Baldock is just one of these players who I can't really see transforming into this quality this season. Really is harsh to choose anyone, as I want to choose them as a team right now. I really do. But Baldock is one of those players who I just sell in the next transfer window and getting someone to replace him straight away. Jack Stevens is my choice for Southampton now, purely because he's just another player who's been caught out a lot from the little amount of minutes he's played in the league this season. I think this is because he's been quite particularly slow at the moment in the league. And he's had moments this season where he's needed to stop these quick players like Kane and Zaha. I'm not going to lie, it was one of the easier picks for me, I think. But also at the same time, a little harsh from how well they've been playing as a team, Southampton. He hasn't been too bad either, I guess, Jackie Boy. But he's definitely left opposing players to have a lot of open space to have fun with. A team who are top right now is Tottenham. And that made it really hard for me, again, to choose a player for them who they should sell in the next January transfer window. Then I remembered a player that crept in to that starting 11 against Everton at the start of the season. But since then, he hasn't been included in the squad at all, only coming off the bench in that game against Manchester United. But the job was pretty much done right then. I'm only wanting Ali to be sold because it'd do him the world of good. Let's be honest here, boys. It's obvious as well, Jose isn't much of a fan of him. To be completely honest as well, Newcastle could do with him perhaps right now. A team like Newcastle at that same level could really use him right now. But Dele Alli hasn't done that well at all in the Prem this season. And I know we haven't seen that many minutes, but I do know that would do him the world of good to get out of Tottenham. And we are only judging performances from the Premier League. Let's just remember that. Let's just make him feel good again and get him sold. Hey, Jose?
I have nothing to say.
Now time for West Brom, another team struggling and still trying to find their first win of the season. Again, a team who have collectively got themselves into this mess. But Semi Ajayi in the defence is a player I feel West Brom should bin. But don't bin him because trying to sign anyone these days is hard clubs are greedy, so trying to sign anyone to replace him would be pretty hard. Ajayi for me is the one player that I'd sell though. His team has conceded in the 8 games that he's played in. One game that he didn't take part in against Burnley, they kept a clean sheet. It is Burnley though, Rob. True. But he's left a lot of space for opposing players this season, which has left them picking the ball out of the net. Another player whose spatial awareness in this league hasn't been great. Over time this season, I'm sure he'll correct this and improve. Sam Johnson in goal can't save them all though. He's one of many keepers in this league who have been let down by the defence this season. Time for West Ham, and let's keep it simple here. And I've got a bright idea who I'm going to go for. There we go. LOL! I'm going for a defender who can only seem to cross the ball in rather than defend. And where have I heard that before? It's Ryan Fredericks, guys, and I hope his drive down to Derby is a safe one, and I hope big man Carroll is there waiting for him. I just don't think he's Premier League quality. Him as a playmaker has been great. He's done some real nice passes into the box this season, but his defensive play hasn't been up to this Premier League standard. He's just simply not a traditional right back. I feel if he left as well, then West Ham wouldn't be that upset either. If this man was 27 or 28, then I'd actually choose him. But as he's 23 and he's still got time to improve, then I'm going to leave him out of this one. Yeah, he's a nice guy, that Rob, isn't he? Hey. Finally, it's Wolves, and I'm going for a Portuguese player now, which could be anyone in their squad. But it will be João Moutinho, another player on this list that's just past his best. Again, I can't pick too many players because Wolves have been great, it's fair to say. But I feel Moutinho is another midfielder who's just too slow for this league now. He's been given a lot of defensive duties in this squad this season, but I don't think he's that strong enough to live up to these defensive. Perhaps a little harsh again, but I feel he'd be able to tear it up in a league that isn't the Prem. I'd rather see Danny Podence score from 30 yards out right now. The lad's smashing it in this league. Moutinho is 34 right now, and another year out from joining the MLS, I swear. So there we have it, 20 players that should be sold from each club in the Premier League. Hopefully some of you guys agree with me there. I think they're all fair shouts, right? As always, guys, if you'd like to see some more football content on this channel, then please smash that like button down below. I'd appreciate that massively. Be sure to subscribe to me too, and to also have the notification bell turned on. Hope you guys have a real great day. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.